So now I've described mostly about the Pharisees. Now I want to see how is this talking about our churches right now. It should be kind of obvious. The Pharisees are a blessed, they're part of the Jewish people. They're a blessed race, a blessed people. Malayalees, they're a blessed race, a good amount of people, a lot of pride, a lot of everything, right? Okay. Pharisees, leaders in the church. They do everything that goes on in the church. Uncles, the masterminds over the church, all right? We're looking at this, right? Side by side, right? Okay. When they leave the church, okay, our churches right now, like I said, with the status, I can say with my eyes, the fruits are not the greatest of the fruits, okay? I asked you to see, are we building a religion or are we building something up to bring people to Christ? We talked about it before. What are we really doing? We're narrowing our gate to Malayalees who fit a certain description and sometimes a certain denomination. And then at the same time, we're shutting other people off, right? Just like the Jews. Yeah, they were selected. They were a blessed nation. But what they did was they narrowed their gate and they said, Samaritans, you're not welcome. Lepers, you're not welcome. This is for us. This is all about us. And I want you to also look at is the hearts of these people, okay? I mean, when I say uncles, I don't want y'all thinking I'm talking about y'all dads or nothing like that, all right? Because I mean, this is just a general stereotypical analogy, okay? I don't want y'all getting offended or nothing. But if you look at the majority of our uncles and stuff, what are they looking for? They're just looking, just like I talked about them, the show and how good everything looks on the outside, right? Oh, if everyone's on stage singing, it would be a blessed church, right? Because it looks good, right? All the kids are on stage. Who doesn't want to go to church like that? But like on the other hand, so, that's what they think about. They think about the show. And so that's just an example of how they're like the Pharisees, right? And on top of that, whenever, they have this set of rules set, okay? And like I said, the Pharisees, they built the church around their tradition and their man-made laws and commandments, okay? Our churches are similar in the sense because a lot of the things are not very biblical, yet they are traditionally there as rules of the church, okay? And, that's just how we've made our church. They think that certain things are this way, but they don't even venture to crack open the Bible and see whether those things are correct or not. And then I want to look at something else that they do is this. Jesus was from God, straight up, he's the Son of God. His disciples was also of God, and they were all filled with the Holy Spirit. And these Pharisees, leaders of the church, they looked down upon them, and they felt like everything they were saying was just ludicrous, and they were just totally off, right? But in reality, they needed to look at themselves, and they were off. So I want you to look at what made these Pharisees the way they were, and if we want to look at the more tangible, what made uncles the way they were? Like, when I say this, I don't want to be in a bad way because, I use uncles because I'm comparing the Malayalee church to the Jewish church, and the leaders of the church are the uncles. Pharisees are the leaders of the Jewish church. But what's to say that we do not follow the same way, okay? What made these people go in this traditional way and ignore God's voice? That's kind of like what I talked about the last 4 messages. The reason I didn't jump straight up into like what our church is about and what we need to do is because if I just said, let's go do this and the church is this way, we all would have probably jumped up and let's go do this and that. But in order not to become another Pharisee, we would make sure what? We're humble, sober spirit, through the Holy Spirit. We're listening to God's voice. We're being filled with the Holy Spirit. And that's the way we're not going to fall into that whole thing of saying, my fleshly thoughts, my fleshly commands, man's law is what's right, that's the way we're going to fall away from that. But the unfortunate truth is this is the state of our church, okay? This is how it is right now. The main thing I want you to look at is I want you to see the comparison that the church is very much like the Pharisees at those days. What I want to look at more further is that once you realize that you could read in the Bible and see what they did to make the church what it should be, okay? The first thing I want you to understand is that our church is is exactly like what it was back then. There needs to be something done to change it to where it is supposed to be, just like the disciples did and the apostles did later on.